Pretty much. Pretty much. She's the youngest one too.
Yeah.
Shelter with her parents and like siblings. So there were 8 empty.
Like right now. It's so long. Right now. Happy hour. Ooh, the music is so good. Oh my god, cute. Okay, wait. 1, 2. Wow. It's a whole plate of like.
Hello. I don't think I made an intro yet to this small vlog, but hello, welcome. My name is Ellias. Just wanted to give you guys a quick update on what I have been currently reading. And for this current read, I'm actually getting sort of very similar vibes from my first 5-star read of the year. I'm like, what, 15-20% of the way through in this book, and so far, I don't know, I'm smelling a hit. And the biggest surprise, it's a romantasy book. We shall see. I'm really excited for this one. But before we get further into the video, I would like to thank today's video sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM is a really cool apparel store, and they sent me over a few pieces, one of which I'm wearing right now. This is a Henley. It's a little bit warm outside, but once the colder weather, fall essentially, rolls in, it'll be perfect. They have a lot of cool, unique, different designs for their t-shirts, and all their clothing from what I've worn so far have been really comfortable. I wore one of the simple tees to the gym the other day. I really like the quality, the fit of the shirt. It made me look like a snatched twink. I mean, the best thing about them is the quality and the comfort. So aside from this Henley that I'm wearing right now, they sent over a couple shirts, a half zipped collared shirt, which I would definitely be wearing in the winter season. They also sent over this green trucker jacket. They also have other selections which you can choose from, like other shirts, sweaters, flannels, pants, joggers, button-ups as well. So if you're interested, definitely check out the link down below where you can get 10% off these premium made tees. Again, everything is linked, and thank you once again to Into the AM for sponsoring this portion of the video. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get straight into the books. I don't even remember the last book that I read that I talked about on this channel. What video was it? I think, based on my notes, I think I talked up to Shield of Sparrows. Okay, this was another romantasy book that I read. And just to quickly iterate, I felt like the first half of the book was way better than the second half. I think this book actually put me in a reading slump for the longest time after finishing it because it was so mid. Everything that built up into the ending was so strange. It ended on a really weird note, as if, I don't know, the author didn't know how to end it. They ended it in a way where they obviously were setting up for a sequel. But you know, usually in this type of, I don't know, scenario or event in the book, you're building up to this huge crescendo, right? This awesome, massive cliffhanger. But to me, the ending here felt so strange and abrupt. Like, it didn't really make much sense to me why they ended off here. There were also these little weird tendencies that the author would introduce. It wasn't just like this one huge discovery. It was like very little things that you would have thought you'd known about certain characters or certain parts of the story earlier on in the book that she introduced later on, where I was like, okay, that would have been useful and helpful to know, I think, before, like earlier on in the book. And then after introducing these things, the author would like either brush it off, something happening that would cut off the main character's thought of process or words or actions that I would be like, what? You were about to say something really important, only to be cut off by, I don't know, something happening, a jump scare. I don't know, I felt it was a little lazy. Like, you were setting things up in a way that didn't feel complete. Anyways, that was a whole debacle with this one. It was fine. It wasn't like the best romantasy or worst romantasy book that I've ever read. It was average. To put it simply, it's about a princess who is essentially forced to marry this certain emissary that has come over from different parts of their kingdom in order to broker peace between the two warring kingdoms and to prevent a fallout of war, as things usually go in this type of scenario. Would I ever pick up the second book in the series? Absolutely not. But again, this wasn't the worst thing I read. It was fine. 3 out of 5. All right, so the next book I read, actually, this was a recommendation from one of you guys in my comments in the previous videos that I made, and one of you guys recommended the Silverblood Promise. So this one, I wouldn't say high fantasy, it's more, I don't know, how do I describe this? Introductory fantasy, where things and places and people are being introduced. Kind of felt like an introduction fantasy akin to like how Robin Hobb sets up the Assassin's Apprentice. If you've read the first trilogy, it's very self-contained, very isolating, very cozy in that sense. However, I would not compare the two books together. Like, they're not even remotely the same. The Silverblood Promise is vastly different in that it's sort of like this revenge murder mystery in this fantasy empire setting. We're following our main character who is trying to find out the murder of a close family member. He travels to different various places, trying to pick up on clues. He's just trying to figure out who and why this murder happened and occurred. It was definitely intriguing enough. However, I would say the last third of the book kind of lost me a little bit. It was, I don't know, everything that this main character did, it was so convenient. He would stumble across a clue that he would have never found if it wasn't for, like, I don't know, this coincidence. There's so many coincidences in this book that happens to our main character. He just gets very lucky. Like, he had to be in this place at a certain amount of time, just happened to be at a certain place at this time where this person was, or he just saw this person going into this location, following this person there, and it was just so convenient. I was like, okay, what would have happened if you, I don't know, went to the bathroom, you never saw this person? Bam, mystery would never be solved. Things were a little too convenient for my taste, for my liking, but I'm interested enough to see where the second book goes because it sort of expands on the world building. I'm more interested in sort of like the magic system, which is very, very sparse in the first book. So that is the Silverblood Promise. All right, so the last 3 books that I read, With a Vengeance, I gave 2 out of 5. This was just like a fun romp, kind of dumb book in my opinion. I actually read for Kayla's book club, the Literally Dead book club. We have a live show about it if you want to, you know, hear all of my thoughts and opinions on that. This was a very mid Riley Sager book. I did not care for it, did not care for any of the characters or the POVs. It wasn't doing anything that elevated the genre for me. I do think, however, it would be a really great introductory book into the thriller genre if you're new. But I mean, I always say this for most mid thrillers. It just wasn't very good compared to his previous works. And this man has written like, what, 7, 8 thriller books by now? And I have read every single one. Have I given, I don't know, more than half of them, maybe 3 stars and less? Yes. I don't know what it is about Riley Sager. It's just, I keep coming back to him, reading his books, and just overall being disappointed. So that is With a Vengeance in a nutshell. Okay, so the next book I also read because of Kayla, your influence. This is Lights Out. So this is a romantic erotic thriller. You know the certain type of videos, these thirst traps you see of like shirtless men who wear like masks to hide their identity, but they're like dancing or just acting slutty on camera, you know, for the views on TikTok. That is essentially what this book entails, but it involves the guy actually breaking in and sort of fulfilling this fantasy that our main character has, in which she wants one of these masked men that she's thirsting over to come into her home and do stuff. So it was a very fun and interesting concept, I gotta say, because I don't know, I'm pretty sure the majority of most of us thirsty TikTok viewers are hoping or wishing that, you know, it would happen to one of us. Or it's just me. It got really silly towards, I would say, like later in the book, because another character becomes involved with our main character, not the love interest, that sort of brought it down for me a little bit. I also gotta say though, if you're going into this book, avoid reading the blurb or the summary or the premise because it kind of gives away the entire plot of the book. I was halfway through and I was like, I already know what's gonna happen. And just how it all was resolved and brought together was just very lackluster. There weren't any surprises at all in the book for me. Everything was pretty much revealed early on. It's very predictable. I mean, I did have a semblance of fun reading this. It was very, very straight. There were heavy sex scenes in here, which I skipped because I could care less. I mean, I don't really read these type of books for their sex scenes, but it was just a very easy, fun read. So all right, so the last book I'll quickly talk about is Forbidden Alchemy, another romantasy. I don't know, I've been on a huge romantasy kick just because this genre of book has just been somewhat easy for me to fall into. Just juggling life in general, I find that I'm gravitating towards these books more just because also I've been putting like a lot of books on hold in Libby. I don't know, for some reason, I don't know what it is. A lot of these books have just been coming out at the same time where my library was like, hey, this book is now available for you to read. And I don't know what it is about other readers possibly going through them quickly, like me as well. But I know they're fast reads, so just really fast and easy for me to just plow through without giving much brain power to it. But Forbidden Alchemy, oh my god, this book infuriated me. Like, there wasn't inherently anything wrong or bad with this book. Oh my god, our main character was so frustrating to read from. Her POV, I don't know, and also this author would switch from first person to third person, switching between our main female lead to the love interest, and I'm like, why? Like, it didn't really make much sense. Why? The third person didn't really offer any nuance or personality to our love interest. This also had like this historical essence of like Peaky Blinders with our love interest, you know, if you're really into that. But aside from that, these characters have no personality. Like, I literally could not tell you a single thing about our female character because she was just so bland, so boring. She literally lets everything happen to her and she doesn't do a single thing about it. She was just so annoyingly passive to the point where I was like, why are you even here? Every single time she even speaks, just every single time she has like a major breakthrough, I'm just like, just sit down, be quiet. The ending also, oh my god, was so strange. It ended in a way where I was like, oh, you're definitely ending it here just so you can build up hype for the sequel. But then again, it felt like it was so abrupt, like the author didn't know how it would end. This wasn't even a good cliffhanger. That was the Forbidden Alchemy. Nothing wrong with it really, just wasn't really my taste. Will not be picking up the sequel. It was fine. Actually, it was not fine. I initially gave it, what? A 2 out of 5. But honestly, I think I was just so pissed off with the main character and how it ended. But obviously, it's a mid-tier book. So, but yeah, anyways. So the book that I'm currently reading right now that has me in a chokehold right now currently. Another romantasy book that I picked up because Carrie read it and they were talking about it, got me interested, or I was like, okay, interesting. I will put it on hold, and it finally came through. I started it just recently and I love it. The writing is just really good from what I usually expect from this genre, but this book is called Monster of Mine. It's really interesting so far. It's giving the Raven Scholar vibes with our main character, the writing, the world building. I'm very interested in this world building that the author has crafted and built up. It's just so intricate and detailed, expansive in a way that is very, very interesting. I haven't really been introduced to the magic system yet, but from what I've read so far, like little inklings, little snippets here and there, what they can do, it's just very, very interesting. So far from the plot, it's about our main character who is traveling back to this academy in this kingdom because 4 years prior, she essentially was sort of murdered, healed, brought back, and then cast out. And so she wants revenge. I'm not doing the plot justice. So far, that is what I know, the bare bones of it. And so she's going through her own investigation while also being mentored by this hot, brutal, sadistic, cruel person, obviously her love interest. The dynamic so far, I'm really loving. It's definitely heavy on enemies to lovers. I'm really loving it so far, and it holds a lot of promise. Like, my expectations were here, and now they're like right here. So we'll see. Yeah, aside from that, I think that's pretty much it on the updates. So I have been reading. Yes, finally. If you haven't been watching my previous videos, I have been lamenting on just not reading enough in general. But regardless, I'm excited to see where this next book takes me. But I guess this is where I'll say bye if I didn't make an outro. Thank you for watching, for being here, for sticking around, and I'll see y'all soon with a new video.